Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to present our version of the TRT today. Hello. With Rixt and Horst. And so this is what we call the No Excuses Clinic. So people that have a spooky horse, or they have a horse that is a bit sharp, or is horse shy, or is noise sensitive. This is the No Excuses Clinic. So it's a clinic where we demonstrate that it doesn't matter what type of horse you have or what type of personality you are, it's always possible to improve yourself and improve your horse. So of course, I'm a huge fan of Rixt. She has more medals hanging in her closet that I could ever dream of. So we're again able to work with a person that is accomplished a huge amount already in a very young lifetime. And as you can see here, it's important when we come to this big arena with all these people around, that Unique is able to feel the energy of Rixt, and that the horse is able to control himself and to be able to read the energy from his person and not read the energy from all the other people. So this is where we're going to start. I'm going to get the director's chair here, and we're going to go through the first few patterns of the TRT method. So we've had to devise a few different things for Rixt to be able to do what she needs to do with all the exercises. Of course, Rixt has a very, very good assistant. I also share this assistant. This is Doreen van der Lee. She's probably the real managing director of the whole TRT corporation. She also has a license for the showmobile. So from the beginning, this is the pattern that we also just did outside the arena. So this is a pattern to be able to create shape in the horse's body. If you think when a horse is tense, they are in a posture that makes and creates tension. To be able to change a horse mentally into this state, which we already have, which is a big bonus when you start like this. That we're able to get them mentally into this state from the shape of their body. So Rixt, if you just start a little bit the bending for shape and control. Okay, bring him a little bit closer. So what Rixt is asking him to do here is move away from her inside leg, that he's able to bend and create shape in his body. And when he creates bend and shape in his body, you can just touch him a little bit. Yeah, good. And then again. Good. When he creates this bend and shape in his body, he gets into a state of relaxation and rest, a little bit backwards, and now long rein. And we watch what happens to the head. So because of this shape, he gets rest. Same the other way. And so this is the shape that we use when we go to a competition the first time. This is the shape we use when we get off the trailer at a new place and the horse has its head up and is really tense. We try to get him to have bend and shape in his body, and I try to do my job. And then backwards again. So the idea here, as you can see, and change one more time the other way, is that Unique is making this shape where he puts the inside hind leg underneath and in front of the other one. So as he's bending here, he's able to create shape in his body. Good, Rixt. And then relax again. A little bit backwards. Good. And then you teach him to draw to pressure. So you lift the whip up and you get him to come towards you. So here we teach them the opposite. So for the horse to better understand moving away, he can also understand coming towards you. And this also helps Rixt, which you'll see later on, with her being able to get on herself at the step. So we quite often see horses that need 2 or 3 people to hold them, or you're sort of getting on as they're moving, and one step turns into 2, turns into 10, turns into running away. So from that moment on, Rixt now has control of the feet. If you have control of the feet, you have control of the horse. If he has this soft bending in the body, he becomes soft and bending in the mind. Then we start to deal, which is very important for every rider, but of course more important for Rixt. She has to make sure when she's been at big championships and she's at the Olympics or World Equestrian Games or the Europeans, that in such an environment that he's able to cope with these 4 main things. And the 4 main things are approach, so something approaching him or him approaching the object. Touch is the next one. So if Rixt is riding and he experiences the pressure of the environment and something touching him, we want him to stay relaxed. And the method we do this is that Rixt is able to apply the pressure, and when Unique is thinking, what should I do with this pressure? Rixt continues. The moment he starts to think about making a relaxed posture, Rixt tells him, yes, this is the thing that I want. This is the most simple process in teaching a horse the correct response to something. So Rixt is now asking questions of him. So what do you do when something approaches you? What does your mind and body tell you when something flies over you or past you? He has 2 choices. He can become tense and do what Mother Nature tells him and run away, or he can respond with something that he's learned, and that's control. A little bit longer on the road. So Rixt has got very good flag skills here. I can see if she wasn't a rider, she would probably be a cheerleader, something of that nature. So again, the idea here is to find out where your horse has maybe got tension, look for that spot. When he's high in the head, stay in that position. When he gets to relaxed state, take the pressure off. And then what happens is, the more pressure that is in the environment, the more it tells the horse to find a relaxed control state in his body. The same with noise. So again, we start with a certain amount of pressure. A little bit again. When he's finding this relaxed state, again, pressure is coming off. What should you do? 1 + 1 is? More. And 1 + 1 is, let me think about it. I'm not quite sure. What should I do? Oh, it's a nice crowd here today. The pressure in this environment is not enough to even bother giving a response. Come on, try a bit harder. This is where the students have to be inventive, because what we want to avoid is desensitizing. We don't want him to get used to the pressure of the noise. We want him to think about answering the question, so he gets the feeling that the question is worth answering. So it's very easy to get into a rhythm of gentling your horse and saying, oh mate, just get used to the flag, I won't do anything really scary. And then of course what happens in real life, Doreen, you can redress the horse and we'll move to the next step. What happens then in a real environment is your husband coming in on the tractor while you're riding doesn't say, I'm coming now darling, in 10 minutes I'm going to start the tractor and I'm going to go really quietly so I don't spook your horse. You know, when the birds fly into your arena, the bird doesn't say, I'm coming, I hope you're not on a young horse. So it's also important that your horse doesn't get used to pressure, because when he gets used to a certain amount of pressure, he becomes numb. He stops answering the question. He zones out a little bit. And when the pressure becomes too much, and he can't ignore the pressure anymore, that's when you get the explosion. So it's important that you ask a question that's worth answering. You shouldn't ask a question that makes the brain melt and come out the ears, but it has to be a question worth answering. You'll see it a lot now on social media, Facebook, people are there, they see the flag and go, oh, I'm going to do the bit what Tristan does, and they stand all day gentling the horse is asleep, thinking, God, I hope they go away with that flag soon, this is becoming really boring. And then the first time you go into the indoor and it's raining or it's windy and you have real life pressure, the horse doesn't know how to give the response. He's been made to be sleepy and not intelligent. So this is the importance of it. So Rixt is going to show you her fancy getting on technique. So again, the exercises she's done in the groundwork beforehand, preparing the horse for something to be successful with horses, is all about the preparation. We want to create a pattern in which they understand how to give the right answer to the right question. So the preparation is always about the horse understanding what the answer should be. And that way too, the horse then starts to take responsibility for his job. The mindset is not that we take the horse and get on him. The mindset should be that we ask him, I'm ready to ride, and he presents the saddle and says, here you go, I'm ready for you to get on. So again, the dynamic changes. And what's really important here, not of course for every rider, but especially the people with no excuses, power riders, they have a much, much greater bond with their horses because they're forced to teach the horses to want to learn and want to cooperate. Able-bodied people can get away with being useless and not understanding their horses, manhandling them, not teaching to them, because they can solve things with strength. He doesn't go forward, you just kick him. Rixt doesn't have the strength. If he's not forward, she has to teach him when he hears this noise, that is the response he has to give. If you just go a few laps in trot, Rixt, then you can warm yourself up a little bit. So you'll notice Rixt has a different noise for everything that she asks. When she asks to go forward or energy, she gives the kiss noise. And he's only listening to hers, not mine. When she wants to canter, it's a different noise. When she asks for backwards, it's a different noise. When she wants forward, she doesn't say, when she wants backwards, stand still. She has a different language for each thing she wants to do. She's not being an insult to her horse. She's understanding that the horse has enough intelligence to learn different sounds and have a different understanding and meaning for each sound. Looks good, Rixt. How does it feel? Just say amazing. We all think it's amazing. A pretty girl and a black shiny horse. So it's important here that Rixt gives him the time to find the line. So as you can see, this is not a plastic horse. It's a real one. It's a dressage horse. He has instincts. He's still alive. He's still being a performance horse that has to have movement and expression. It's just as competitive now in the parasport as it is at the highest level international Grand Prix. So Rixt, come to the middle and we build the bridge between your perfect groundwork and the riding. So here we get the standing still, and Rixt has to find the position of rest. So it's now Unique's job here to then control himself. So we put just enough pressure that we're asking a question. I say, what should you do here? He says, I'm going to go towards the plastic. When he goes towards the plastic, I take the pressure off. So here you can see, a little bit nervous, a little bit tense. And I'm asking all the time, what should you do here when something's touching you? Where's that stupid Australian going with his plastic stick? He's watching me. And the more he starts to control himself, reins a little bit forward, the more he starts to control himself, the more I take the pressure off. This is the learning phase. This is really teaching him when he's in this environment with the saddle and bridle on and the rider on, it's exactly the same as in the groundwork. And it's important to do this step because you can be a world champion groundwork trainer, but unless you build the bridge between groundwork and riding, it has no meaning. Meaning that he'll be really good on the ground, and then you get in the saddle, and then he becomes a riding horse, and then all the work is gone. So it's really important here that he makes the same connections. So every time he's relaxing here, again, pressure off, control, think about controlling yourself, because that's in the end the only thing we can teach horses is to control themselves. We can't control the environment. We can't tell the show organisers not to put the banners up, not to put the nice tulips. Oh, we can only teach them self-control, self-confidence, self-belief. And when a rider can teach the horse this, then the rider can also have more self-belief, belief in themselves, belief in the communication. Rixt, if you make one round in trot, down the middle line, and then, like we train, you try and run me over. This is Rix's most favourite part, when she gets to run me over. So what we're looking for here is that when the horse has two eyes, I make pressure. When he goes towards me, I make less pressure, and then he has to touch the bag. When he touches the bag goes away. So what we're teaching him here is when Rixt comes up the centre line at the Olympics and she's got the most ugly judge you've ever seen sitting in the box, no matter what the horse says, I'm going to that really terrible, ugly person in the box because I know when I go there, then I feel comfortable. So there's the goal. He makes the touch, the pressure goes away. So the switch in the mind is, he's thinking, oh, go there. The more I go to it, the quicker the pressure comes off. And secondly, he makes a change in his body from this to this. The body posture of, oh, I'm not sure, to, oh, I'm going there. His body tells him, he's going to make a nice, she's working on a pattern now for the next competition. Look, perfect 10-meter circles. There's good. And again, we go to the touch first. Good boy. So he's thinking all the time, get to that goal. And when I get to the goal, the pressure comes off. One more time, Rixt. Now you're allowed to really ride through me. So here, it's also important, the person on the ground, I'm not just here to talk a lot of rubbish. I also have to be very good at teaching him this part, that I'm able to draw and teach the horse, yes, if you go towards me, the feeling should be that the pressure comes off. One more time, Rixt. And then you see how extended trot a bit. Good. Yeah. So in the end, he has really the feeling like it doesn't matter what's in front of me. If Rixt says, go straight, I go straight. And the more draw he gets, the better it's going to be. So also, what we also teach the horses a little bit, and especially with Unique, is that he's able to be proud in the body. That we teach him a posture that gives him the feeling that he's really proud. So teaching the horses a little bit to have a goal of chasing the whip, just go forwards. It's my fault, I asked him to go backwards. So he has to be forward first, And then I just ask him to press against the whip. Good, and relax again. So here where it's all the spooky things, you release the reins. So you make him feel like here's the nice place to be, here you have to work. And then we go a little bit in trot. And so the idea here is that he learns to push a little bit against the whip. Forward, forward, forward. And now he wants to be a Grand Prix horse. Forward and relax. Good boy. So the idea here is not that Rixt has to be able to put pressure to make him go forward, but we teach him about chasing the pressure. Forward again. Yeah, and give rein. Good, and forward. And forward with the noise. Good, rub him on the neck, good boy. And so the further I get away from him, the more he should start to offer. Forward, forward, there. Oh, and relax again. Oh. And so what's important here is after he makes a few steps that he feels like, oh, there again, the pressure went off. He understands from the groundwork, from the tools. We stop here and we make the reins long. So every day's a training. Doesn't matter what happened yesterday, what happens tomorrow. You can only teach horses in the moment. So what we create here, in the space where he sees a narrow spot and some weird things, we give him the rest. And then again walk. And here we work. So we build a contrast. If he wants to be over here, we take away the want to be over here. These are all things you can think about with your own horses. Don't worry too much about the technical thing of where the stupid Aussie guy was standing to teach something. Think, yeah, and relax again. And now trot again. When you get to this spot, relax. It's all about the mindset. The more you can understand and be connected, whoa, stop, drop the reins. The more you can get your horse to understand what it is he is thinking and saying, the more you can understand how to teach your horse to be comfortable and confident. Perfect.